Well, for more than 2 years, the left-wing media has been quick to believe the worst of Israel. The puppet masters at Hamas have been fueling a narrative that Israel was starving civilians and committing war crimes. At home, the ABC lapped it up. The public broadcaster has been relentless in its anti-Israel bias, even repeating Hamas statistics as facts, quoting death figures from the Palestine Health Ministry, which is Hamas-run. Last night on its 7:30 program, host Sarah Ferguson sunk to a new low during an interview with former Treasurer Josh Frydenberg, a prominent and senior member of the Jewish community. Now, this is a man who is grieving with his community at the loss of 15 innocent lives. A man who's been relentless in the fight against anti-Semitism in Australia, who is sharing his frustrations at a lack of action to stop it. He fronted the Sky News documentary on this very topic and has been at the front line of the crisis. And Josh Frydenberg was angry at the memorial yesterday, as he had every right to be.
This massacre at Bondi is the greatest stain on this nation, has brought the greatest shame to our nation.
And during the ABC interview hours later, Sarah Ferguson asked him about the alleged terror attack, his speech at the memorial, and then saved her gotcha question for last, accusing him of acting only for political gain.
It's widely viewed as inevitable that you will return to politics. How do we not see this through a political lens? I mean, the case that you're making, a personal case against the Prime Minister.
I'm deeply offended by what you just said. I'm deeply offended.
Explain that.
And you know what? Mm-hmm. There was a man called Murray Watt who sits on the Labor front bench who tried to say that about a year ago. And then Labor ministers like Mike Kelly and others, hear me out, who came out and said exactly what I'm about to say, that is an insult. That is an insult to say that there's any political motivation in this.
It's a question.
No, Sarah, the reality is this. I'm an Australian who has to have personal security because my life is endangered in this country. And I was the treasurer of this country. My children go to a school where there are armed guards outside. When I visit a Jewish aged care centre, there are armed guards outside. When I send my kids to Jewish sporting clubs, there are police cars out there and police tape. How should we live with this? Why should we live with this? So if I'm not going to speak out, who is? If not now, when? If not me, who? The reality is this was an attack on Jewish Australians, but this is a threat to every Australian.
To be clear, my question was about the framing of what you are saying. I'm not making assertions. I'm not copying what anybody else is saying.
And Sarah, and you asked me the question and I gave you my answer.
Hang your head in shame, Sarah Ferguson. What a disgrace. How could she possibly ask that question of a Jewish Australian when for 2 years Jews in this country have feared for their lives? They have witnessed hate week in, week out, and it culminated in the loss of 15 innocent lives, including a 10-year-old girl on Sunday night. The community has been begging for leadership and action. If only the Prime Minister had a slither of the leadership shown by Josh Frydenberg. What an offensive question. And she clearly tried to backpedal once she realised how insulting it was. It's offensive. And then there's ABC host Laura Tingle, who claimed religion had nothing to do with the alleged terror attack, despite it being motivated by ISIS, by radical Islam.
Absolutely radicalised, they were targeting Jews. It is anti-Semitic, but we are ascribing all sorts of things, right?
Yeah, their actions are not based on their religion.
Not even mass murder is enough for the ABC to report the facts. They'd rather gaslight you under the guise of journalism. This is not journalism, it's activism. And bear in mind, this is one of the public broadcaster's most senior and prominent journalists we're talking about here. Jews were celebrating Hanukkah. They were deliberately targeted at Bondi by two men allegedly brainwashed by a religious ideology that has no place here. If only the ABC had reported the facts accurately from day one, from October 7, 2023, and heaped pressure on terrorists and hate preachers, called out Labor, called out a lack of action on anti-Semitism, and shown balance and fairness in their reporting. Just as Albanese has admitted he could have done more to combat anti-Semitism. So could the taxpayer-funded ABC.